Um,
Hello, this is the final team perspective. Congrats to everyone. We've made it all 4 times. So hopefully that extra credit will be nice and useful. Uh, you should know the deal by now, Professor. We're just going to go over the bullet points, talk about what's been going on, and give you a big update. So what went well in the previous weeks? Well, we've all been working on our MVP code, and CRUN functionalities for all our entities are pretty much finished or almost finished. Thank you, Blake, for deploying our database into the cloud. It's been a lot easier to work with it there. We are able to connect to it, so it's been very seamless. If we need to update anything, it's been very, very, very useful. Uh, we've learned to be more efficient with planning these team perspective meetings. I know the first one that we did was like around 40 minutes or so, and we've kind of shortened it down. And we also just spent like half an hour like writing a full-on script. And now it's like, we're gonna make this a whole lot more casual, make it feel a lot more authentic. We are able to implement proper data integrity, just making sure that deletions are working correctly and like not getting rid of any information that we want, making sure updates are not overwriting stuff, just make sure every action that the user is able to take is all proper. It's been a little bit bumpy. I know I'm still working on that right now for transactions, but overall, I think the progress has been pretty smooth. And finally, we've been working on HTML and CSS design for front end. I think everyone's been doing a great job. Thank you, Blake and Adam, for taking the lead on that and letting me and Kyle use your stuff as templates, as backbone, and just making sure that all of our stuff is uniform, but also very tailor-made to our specific entities. It's been very, very helpful.
yep.
Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I guess we good. I started off with the base that Blake had made over all the wallpapers and everything. And then because I recently like learned about Ginger and everything from the Flask video, I was like, okay, let me try putting all of that together. And I just put all of that in there and it's been useful. So pretty helpful.
Yep. Thank you very much, Adam.
Um, I guess if we don't want to talk about that anymore, we can go to what went wrong for this week. So something that was crazy is two team members, me and Kyle, were changing our living situations at the exact time that the team wanted to get the majority of the work done. I know I tried to do a lot before I moved. Like I did the
You
templates,
definitely did.
I did Jenga, I did the two, I think, um CRUD operations for piece stuff, which I still have to um refine and stuff like that. But yeah, this was basically bad timing. And on my part, I know I did not communicate effectively to the team, like, okay, I'm not going to be available for these 2 days because I'm not going to have internet, stuff like that. So definitely something bad on my part. Also, meetings went overtime. So I heard from my other teammates that meetings, because they didn't have a clear, definite goal, or because people were trying to get a bunch of stuff done at the same time, the meetings went overtime, and that's pretty much a bad use of our time because we don't want to spend the whole time discussing stuff. We actually want to get code done and see if we can get that done in a timely manner. Basically,
Mhm.
anything anyone want to add?
Yeah, I'll add to
Yeah.
that. I was also one of the people who had to move, and I moved because I had my internship finishing up, so I was not really. I didn't work at well as well for me like it did for Blake to get much done before the move. But like now settled, did pretty much the entirety of my CRUD in the last 24 hours. So um, that was a fun experience. But now that things are set, I'm definitely going to try and do more to contribute into the merging of the code together in the next few days when we're trying to get our MVP set up as well as
Mhm.
the presentation. So yeah,
Yep.
it wasn't tough schedule last couple days, but trying to do my best to be contributing.
Yeah, that would be the main thing that comes up over these next 2 days is figuring out how we want the user workflow to go through our project.
Yeah.
Basically, after they log in, where do they go? What options they have? What
Yeah.
roles decide those things? So stuff like that. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need like the middle web pages. We got the beginning, we got the end. Now we just got to connect it.
Yep. Exactly.
I think also like even if Kyle and Blake, you guys like there wasn't a proper schedule or something we stuck to, but I feel we're still on track with the timeline that we have
Oh,
to finish.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like,
definitely.
you
Mm.
guys you guys grinded out like Blake, I think grinded out beforehand, and Kyle, you did grind out like in the last 24 hours with all your CRUD functionalities and everything. So I think in terms of at least having an MVP code, I would literally say we are almost there. Just playing around with a few of our functions and everything, getting the right HTML pages and stuff in there, we are pretty much on track. So I feel that, maybe last week in terms of scheduling was not that good, but at least it did keep us on track. So, at the end of the day, we are still in the right time frame.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Don't mean to sound too pessimistic. I definitely feel like we're on track, and
Right.
we're gonna finish this on time.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yep.
So I'll take on from here what we learned so far. I mean, last week was pretty heavy in terms of our programming and everything. There was a lot of code being written down and everything. To start off, at least I did take some of the CRUD functionalities from the sample database that was given to us. And then I do remember Jaden also was like, I took that, I made some changes to it. And then because that was they had for chefs and everything, and our database is obviously way different. So but it was a good at least base code, a starter code, and then I was able to build on it. And then I think Jaden could take help from it. So that was pretty good. And then also, as I said, I had learned Ginger template, templating within Ginger recently. So I tried putting that into our layouts and everything. And then I think we used a bit of Chat GPT to learn how to use SQL Alchemy syntax. And then also I personally used, like, I was facing some HTML errors when I was, like, making some edits and everything. So I was like, wait, let me give it to ChatGPT and understand what's happening wrong and everything. So I feel like in Gen AI we use that for, because HTML and CSS, that's more of our front end. That's not our main focus. Our main focus is having the functionalities and everything in place. So I feel like, rather than wasting our time and researching, trying to understand what's wrong, giving it to and Gen AI and understanding what's going wrong and trying to implement that, I think it's way easier. I think what's something that's still going wrong, or what we need to figure out, is timestamps, which are being weird in Python right now. Especially, I think Jaden, you were talking about the transactions. We are getting weird timestamps in that, so we're gonna have to
Mm.
work on that and get that fixed. And then also it's kind of a non-trivial task that we do to check the model of a database that is created in Flask. But I think Blake, you worked on that
Yeah.
functionality of adding the
I can talk
codes.
about it if you want to a little bit.
Yeah. So
Like, oh, here we go.
no, it's fine.
Basically,
You can go ahead in that. Yeah.
oh, okay. Basically, in Python Flask, you can model a database and you can, say the data types, constraints, default values, stuff like that. So it's very hard to check that model with the instance of the database that's connected somewhere in the cloud, or maybe on your local machine. And this is important because you want this model and your actual instance to be connected, because if they're not, then when you're trying to do some CRUD operations, like, I know a default value is supposed to go in here because of my model. Oh wait, it doesn't comport to your instance. So that's why sometimes you have to, like, drop the whole instance, create another model, create another instance with the model, stuff like that. It's not very non-trivial task to do stuff like that.
Mhm. Yep. Anyone has anything else to add? I feel like this is, well, we did most of our code. There was a few learnings that went through. We all took help from each other's. There was I feel like pair programming and everything that was there. So I feel like it was a good productive week last week in terms of the code and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, and if no one has anything else to say, I'll move on to our kind of action plan for the next few days. To start, I'll just go ahead and point out that by Tuesday, we're planning to, since the professor moved the due dates to Wednesday for a majority of the assignments. So our plan is to, by Tuesday, kind of have all of our code merged together into a MVP to allow us Wednesday to work on our presentation. So ideally, have us all finish our CRUD and all that by, like, before Tuesday, and then we'll meet on Tuesday to try and kind of mesh all that together, get the merges done. In terms of individual tasks, for me, I'm going to work on this home.html page that Adam set up for us, so that, once the user logs in, they can have this page like, oh, what do you want to do? Because right now, all of our testing we've just kind of been doing, we've been using the URLs to access all of our pages. So I'll work on trying to merge some of that together. Personally, I have a few, like, error messages. My CRUD functionalities work, but I'm trying to show up error messages. Like, if you try to do something that you're not allowed to, I've got a couple of error messages that I just need to fix some bugs in, so that it shows up the correct message. As well as I need to double check the delete constraints of for example, our users, we're not supposed to delete a user unless they are not involved in any transactions. And I don't know if SQL Alchemy takes care of that, or if I actually need to implement that check myself. Blake wants to complete his CRUD for his art pieces. He just has to do the update and create. The other ones are pretty much done. He also is going to work on displaying the user info page, basically so that you can view information about the user who is logged on using the session, the cookies and all that. Adam will work with Blake on creating a transaction page where if the creator is not present in the database, the user is redirected to the creator page so that they can check for user session to display the appropriate HTML page. Because I know those entities are kind of working together, so Adam and Blake can work together on it.
Yeah.
Will be finishing his CRUD for transaction. He's going to update all of the relevant owner ID information based off of his transaction. Includes an owner ID for the piece based off of the piece ID in the transaction. So transactions can get a little confusing there. He also is going to implement some viewing permissions and work on merging some of the code together. If I missed anything, feel free to speak up if there's any actions y'all got. And if not, that does it for our week 4 retrospective.
Yep.
Yeah, we should be good.
Sweet.
Good work, everyone.
Yeah, good work, guys.